Hey everyone, Richard from Digital Foundry here, and I'm joined from Los Angeles by my good friend John Linneman.
Hi Rich, how's it going this morning? Or afternoon, actually.
Fantastic, thanks. So this is Destiny 2 running on the PC. Now at E3 you got a chance to play and indeed capture the game. So this is your gameplay that we're seeing right now, is that correct?
That's right. NVIDIA brought us into a room. They had a bunch of high-spec PCs in there equipped with, I think it was GTX 1080 Ti's and some very nice 4K monitors, G-Sync monitors even.
Lovely.
And they told us that the footage you're seeing here is run with absolute maximum settings. So this is as good as the game can possibly look out of the box.
Well, that's lovely, and that opening vista shot was spectacular. And I think straight away there's a massive upgrade just in terms of sheer clarity, which you'd expect from the resolution, but maybe it's more than that. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's interesting because they kind of upend expectations here, because this area is the tower, which is the area where you would meet and do all your trading and upgrading in Destiny 1. So they start you off here with a place that you know, but it's under attack. And you can really just see like a huge upgrade, and I think in just terms of like material quality, and of course, you know, with the dynamic lighting from the rain, it just looks extremely vibrant and very, very active. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an absolutely beautiful game, and I guess with the move to kind of 4K in general, they've had to radically upgrade assets as well as effects.
Yeah, it does look like all of that stuff has seen a pretty noticeable upgrade, and that makes sense because obviously the PC version's the best version here, but it sounds like they'll at least be going for very high resolutions on PS4 Pro and Xbox One X as well, so they really needed the asset quality to stack up, and I think it does.
Yeah, it looks absolutely spectacular. The material handling on the lighting is just beautiful. And did you actually get a look at the settings screen, or was that all locked out?
Well, actually I did jump in there, but I was told that regardless of what it says, like the settings screen was incomplete and not representative of what we were seeing, so there was no point in using that as a basis, and that it was ultra settings.
Excellent. And I think I can tell from the kind of twitchy nature of the controls that you are using mouse and keyboard here, is that right?
Yeah, they had a couple, they had a nice Logitech mechanical keyboard and one of their mice set up for us to play on, and playing Destiny with the mouse actually feels quite natural, I think, because, you know, maybe a little bit too easy because you can kind of just really zero in on your shots with zero effort. And of course, in the original game, all the menu systems used sort of like an analog stick to drive a cursor around the screen.
Okay.
And now that you have a mouse, you know, it just feels completely natural.
I mean, it looks absolutely gorgeous, and you were using Shadowplay and Video Share to get this footage, right?
Yeah, you know, Bungie were on site there and very particular about how things were captured, so to the point where we weren't allowed to even touch the USB drives as they went into the machine and any of the capture stuff. Like, they were very specific about what we could and could not do.
So you're actually using one of those really cute GTX 1080 Ti USB thumbsticks, and the footage was being recorded directly onto that, is that right?
Yeah, and that's, well, they recorded the hard drive first and then copied it over after the match, but
okay,
that little thing is pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice little replica. It comes in a reference box and everything, but miniaturized. It's a nice little thing.
So Bungie were on site. What were they saying about the game, or were they just letting you get on with it?
They pretty much just let us get on with it. They just wanted to, you know, kind of walk us through, get us set up and everything, and then they said, all right, put on your headphones and go, and there we go.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's just, I was impressed right away because the initial stream, it was hard to make out what the game was going to look like, but seeing it like this, you can see, you know, the rain is impacted by light. You see really nice bokeh depth of field, tons of screen space reflections everywhere. And then I think here, when you enter this area, there's an area up here where they have some nice volumetric light shafts and volumetric lighting. I think you kind of see it here, actually, in this hallway.
Yeah.
And that's a nice touch as well. So, you know, they brought a lot of the modern rendering techniques here to the game. And I think I commented when we saw Anthem at first, like, oh wow, that looks a lot better than Destiny 2, but I think I'm a little off on that. They both look excellent, but very different.
Yeah.
This is a much more stylized game. So it's just really sharp artwork and reasonably high poly world, and lots of really, really nice texture work. And the lighting is good too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we obviously ran some PS4 capture from the initial reveal, and at that time they didn't actually want to show the PC version at all. So I think Wes had a good look at the game, but couldn't actually share any assets with us on that. And I can kind of see why now. I just think from a presentational perspective, this kind of totally overshadows the PlayStation 4 code.
Yeah, I think I saw some of the console stuff being played, and when you go back to the slower 30 frames per second version, and it's quite a jump. I mean, this really does look significantly better than that. And
yeah, I mean, we're seeing a big bunch of GPU particles at the moment.
The lighting here is great. Yep, lots of particles, effects everywhere. And that impressively, I mean, I know it's a GTX 1080 Ti, so it's a very powerful GPU, but even at 4K, I don't think I encountered even a single dip in performance the entire time, no matter how much alpha was on screen. It was just completely stable, which bodes very well, I think, for the PC version.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's not really about average frame rates or highest frame rates. It's always about the lowest, the absolute worst case scenarios.
Yep.
So this does kind of suggest that the PC version of Destiny 2 actually has a fair amount of overhead.
Yeah, big time.
You'd kind of expect that with the GTX 1080 Ti, but at the same time, unfinished code, presumably further optimization to come. I mean, this is pretty hardcore.
Yeah, I was really impressed with just how polished this was. I mean, everything was perfect. The UI was perfect. The loading was ridiculously quick. Well, here actually you can actually see a quick little loading. That's not too bad, actually. And then, the only weird thing about it is, was the fact that they kind of switched to pre-rendered cutscenes here. So
yeah, so we've moved to a video now, and this is the problem when you have a 4K game. That the assets are usually kind of prepared for PlayStation 4, so there's a 1080p standard, and you get this sudden downgrade in kind of visual quality, even though the quality of the rendering itself is exceptional.
Yeah, and that's kind of surprising because the original game did use a lot of actual real-time cutscenes, and so when you're playing on an actual 4K monitor and it jumps over to a pre-rendered video like this, it does feel dramatically worse. So I feel like that could kind of take away from some of the storytelling, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think possibly one of the advantages of moving to the sort of 4K gaming era is that you will inevitably, well, hopefully, get 4K video assets at some point. We saw that in Horizon Zero Dawn, actually.
Oh yeah, that's true, yeah.
So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, but obviously Destiny 2, it's kind of looking like we're at 1080p standard there. So now we're on a second level.
Yes, they let you play a second level, and it took me a second actually to figure out where to go on this one, but as you'll see. But again, it's neat that these all takes place in the rain, because it's always a great showpiece with all the specular work, and there wasn't really anything quite like this that I played in Destiny 1. It just feels very, very active.
Yeah, the other thing, of course, is that when you have these insane alpha effects going on, it's actually a pretty good stress test for the engine and the GPU. So again, it does kind of bode well towards the performance of the PC version of the game.
Yeah, and I guess one thing about Destiny, at least the original release, it was very well known for its very solid frame rate. So even though it was only 30 frames per second, it pretty much never dipped, right? So I assume if this is a continuation of that code, that it's just going to be a really optimized game. And I suspect any slowdown that you would encounter on consoles would have been caused by CPU limitations.
I mean, we ran the PS4 clips through our frame rate analysis tools. It was locked 30 again, so even with all the enhancements to the engine, they're still meeting their render budgets, and it's all looking good there. But at the same time, not every well-optimized console game gets a great PC port, but this is looking really impressive. And of course, on top of that, sometimes the NVIDIA share can have an impact on performance as well. So even factoring that in, it's still looking rock solid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Doing 4K 60 NVIDIA share without dropping any frames at all is pretty impressive, actually.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about this is I don't think Bungie has done. Have they ever done a game on the PC? Well, since Halo, because obviously they did a lot of Mac and PC before that. But since Halo, I don't think they've ever done a game where it was like pretty much PC alongside the consoles. So this is new territory.
I mean, we don't know what was happening on the original Destiny, whether there was actually a PC version. I mean, it's quite interesting that sometimes we don't know exactly what is going on behind the scenes. So, for example, Guerrilla Games have got a PC version of their engine, which is never going to see the light of day.
Ah, that's true.
But at the same time, looking at Destiny 2 here, I mean, for their first shipping PC title for God knows how many years, this is pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, and I think we're closing up here on the final area of the demo through here. Yeah, whoa. Yeah, it's just there's a lot going on out here.
I mean, this is really heartening, isn't it? Because PC owners missed out completely on the first Destiny.
Yep.
And there's a lot of questions being asked about the quality of the port when it was announced the second was coming out on PC. But this is looking absolutely spectacular. Like, you know, hats off to Bungie here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really impressed. So, you know, when the game does release, we'll obviously dig in deeper into some of the tech going on here. But for first impression, they really kind of blew me away.
Yeah, definitely. So this is 4K 60 frames per second on PC, which will be pretty much exclusive, I think. I mean, they've pretty much confirmed now that the Pro and Xbox One X will be 30 frames per second, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, the question now is really what is there additionally on top of the 30 frames per second that PC owners are going to be getting? Because as I said, the presentation here is just on a different level compared to the base PS4 version we saw. And typically, Pro versions tend to be the base version with, you know, scaled up to 4K resolution. So I'm just wondering to what extent there is actually more in the tank here above the resolution. But I guess that's a discussion for another day.
Yep.
Good stuff. So, gameplay-wise, did you enjoy what you were playing?
Oh yeah, I mean it's Destiny and it plays really well with the mouse, so I was happy to play it that way.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because obviously the gameplay would have been designed from the ground up for the controller, so for it to sort of segue seamlessly over to mouse and keyboard, I mean maybe it's just something that just happened naturally, or maybe they had to put a bit more effort into it. Obviously auto aim has gone, and I think Wes was saying something about the kind of recoil that you get off the gun has gone as well.
Yeah, it does feel different, that's for sure, but it feels natural. It really does work quite well, and I'm sure that they had to do a lot of work just to make it feel this good on the PC. So yeah.
But I think we're kind of moving on to the end now, so I guess we're going to wrap it up here. Well, thanks for your time here, John. And, well, if you want to see this video the way it was meant to be seen, we've got an absolutely superb, pristine quality version on our Patreon supporter site, digitalfoundry.net. But this is Destiny 2, 4K 60 frames per second on PC. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and thanks for joining me on this one, John.
Thank you.
Okay, catch you next time.